What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new nature documentary about Hood, the circumcised cobra. In this video, we're going to talk about, organizing these things into a better way. As you can see, this is getting really hectic and really out of control, and especially our budget store, where our case statements are just like, it's just not good. We should only be focusing returning stuff and not setting consts and stuff like that in here. I mean, you could, but you shouldn't. You understand? You could, but you shouldn't. Okay. So yeah, let's actually, we already talked about actions in the last video, and we're gonna actually we're gonna create functions that generate actions for us. Now, what do I mean by that? Is literally what I just said. We're gonna create functions that creates our objects for us, because this object is an action just being pushed to the store. So that's what we're going to do. So inside of source folder, we're gonna create a new folder called actions, and inside of actions, we're gonna create a new file, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it counter.js or counteractions.js. And in here, this is where we're going to explore how to create functions that spit out objects to the store. So in here, we're going to create actions or functions that create our actions that does all the things we're doing here. So increment, we're going to have a function that does increment, decrement, and reset and set. Okay, but let's first focus on incrementing. So let's go back in here. So let's create a arrow function. I'm gonna call it const increment, and we're gonna set that equal to an arrow function. And like I said, this is the only job this function is supposed to do is return an object. So for right now, we're gonna return an object. Okay. Now, like we said in the previous video, the objects all the actions need a type. They all need a type. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be set by default. This is going to be hard coded inside our return, because every one of them need a type. There's no buts and ifs about it. It needs it, okay? But the things that are optional are all the extra additions that we add, like the ink by 10. Those are all optional. You don't have to add it. But with this setup, with this function, we could actually pass in the props or the arguments inside here, and then call it, and then know what's getting passed in by here. So let me actually slow down for a bit and actually show you. Okay, so in here, let's not even take this ink by 10. Let's actually take increment right now. Okay, so let's get rid of this object, because we're no longer going to do manual objects. We're gonna do this function right here. So all I'm going to do is call increment right here. We do need to import it up above. So up above, import the structure from actions dash counter actions. And what I'm going to be exporting is this. So export, grab this, control save right here, increment. Now I have it down here, control save. We should still see our application run. As you saw right there, it's still having the exact same thing that we had it last time. Okay, it's doing the exact same thing. So let's actually do it with another property with ink10. So in here, I'm going to call increment. It's going to be a function. Obviously, we're gonna not a function. We're gonna call increment, but in here we're actually going to be passing in something, and that something is going to be an object of whatever else you wanted to add with that data. So for this instance, we do need the ink by, because that's what we have, the extra data, and we're gonna increment it by 10, just like we had it previously. Okay, but right now it's not going to do nothing, or it is actually. It is, sorry about it. It is, because we still have it over here as our thing. But like I said, we want to clean up this part as well. The switch is going to get, as you can see, it's going to get very messy if we just keep on adding things to our object right here, it's going to get extremely messy in here because all we're going to keep on doing is keep on adding constants and whatnot. We don't want to do that. So what we want to do is actually get rid of this right here. Get rid of it completely, because all we want this to do is to return our state. So I'm just going to exit that out, cut that out, control save, and now we should see something. Yes, there you go. Because this is not defined no more. Don't worry about that right now. In here, in our counter actions, since we're returning this type, we could actually return it as an object with another property, right? So paste that in here, but instead of calling it const, leaving out the const and just adding type and just setting this as another property of the object that we just got. So just like this. So now if I save, all right, action, we gotta do this again, because we're sending the argument as a prop. Not a prop, as an argument inside of increment. So in here, we are gonna have a argument. So I'm gonna call it, I have no idea, data. I'm gonna call it data. So instead of action, it's actually going to be called data. Paste in there, control save. Adding is not defined. Okay, here's the problem, and this is why people say, why do you add over here a default state as a object? Why do you have a default object? The reason why is because now we have adding is not defined, meaning that this data, for some of them, like right here, this increment, we're not adding a object. So obviously adding, we're trying to grab some stuff from data, an object that we passed in, but since this one doesn't have it, it's going to return undefined. So we do need to set a default just like that, and I'm just going to set data. If there's no data being passed in, we're going to set a default object, empty object. Control save. I am doing a lot of mistakes right now. Okay, I see why. Over here, we're just saying adding. This adding now lives in the action, just like with action.type. Now we have action.adding. So I just got to put action right here. Action.adding, control save, and now we should see our app render. Whew. Sorry about that, guys. I am making a lot of mistakes in this one, but hey, real programming, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna take it a step further. Okay, now instead of, I know you all heard about destructuring, okay, and we all know we could destructure arrays and objects. So what I'm going to do here is actually destructure the data that is being passed inside, okay, like right here. I'm gonna destructure that. So in here, instead of data, I'm going to call in another data, destructuring the stuff inside. And we know for a fact we do got inc by. And the reason we're doing it this way is because this right here is just a handful. We don't want to be messing with trinaries. I never knew how to say it. Trinaries. I don't know. We don't want to mess with this kind of stuff. So all we're going to do is saying that if there's an inc by inside that object, or if there's actually a property inside that object, then we're going to just get the first argument and be done with it, right? But if there's nothing, we're going to set inc by and give that a default value of 1. Now, we could actually get rid of all this and just call inc by. If you control save now, you'll still get the same result. But now you know why we're going to be using destructuring a lot. Yeah, destructuring is a key point on this Redux kind of stuff, or these kind of applications, because it makes it so much easier than typing a lot of things out. So we're going to actually do this for decrement as well, and also reset and set, okay? Because like I said, I do want to clean up this switch case statement, and I don't want to have any consts in here, okay? So let's actually do those. I'm gonna just copy this, copy, paste. This is gonna be called decrement. Copy. We're gonna add it to our right here. Paste, decrement. And let's actually do all the increments right now. Okay, all the increments have been done. Let's do the decrements now. Decrement. decrement, and in here is there, yeah, decrement, and there's going to be a dec by 5. So decrement, and then we do need to add a object in here, dec by 5. Okay, control save that. We are going to get some errors, exactly. So let's go in here, dec by, and then right here, dec by. Matter of fact, I'm just going to say like this, ink by and dec by. I'm gonna say ink by to ink by. I'm gonna say dec by to dec by. This is equivalent to saying this, ink by. Okay, but I don't want to type it twice, so I'm just leaving it like that. Now in budget, this is going to be called ink by, and this is going to be called action dot dec by. And I can actually get rid of this now. Control save. Not a number. And oh, this is the reason. Decrement. Control save. There we go. And we have our application running once more. We're going to do this 2 more times, guys, for reset and setting. So copy, paste, set, and then reset. Reset should be extremely simple. We don't even need this. All we're doing is literally resetting something. So we're going to just say type to reset. And that's done. This should still work. Oh, well, it still works because we're not even using it. Reset. And in here, we're going to call in reset. Do that. Control save in our budget store. Yes, everything should be, yep, there you go. Now we're going to do set. And we're going to set by, okay. It's going to be set by. Okay, in here, type is going to be set to set. And we are going to have a count. Or, yeah. So set by. And there is no, if there is no such thing as set by, our default is going to be, you know, whatever you want. But we're going to make sure they actually pass in a set by. I'm assuming that there's always going to be a set by being passed in. So I'm not going to add a default. Okay. Nor am I going to add a default object because there's always going to be, like I said, I'm assuming someone's always going to be setting stuff or passing in a set by. Control save. And over here, let's call in set and call it right here, set. Oh, we got set by. Let me see, set by. We do, sorry about that. We do need to say set by, and we're going to pass in, it's supposed to be an object. 100 to make sure. Oh, what did I just do? And where's my, okay, control save. And there you go. It's setting it by 100. And that is it, guys. Look how much cleaner this looks. Okay, now we have our budget store, which we can actually get rid of this. Control save, and it should, oh, wow. Oh, action dot set by. There you go. There you go. Now we have this running, and it looks cleaner now. We also have all of our actions in one place, and we have just our app, our bootstrap thing, where we just add what is necessary, and that is it. So this is it for this video, guys. All I wanted to do was organize this and actually do a action generator, which we did on this in this folder with this file. And you're kind of seeing how everything is working, combining together, right? Our application is looking a lot nicer. And in the next video, we are going to be looking at reducers. We're going to be talking about reducers and working with multiple reducers. Okay. So what are reducers? Let me actually, so that way you could Redux. If you want to, you could look it up if you want, but I'm pretty sure you're not. You're gonna just wait until the next one. So let's you go to the API and go to right here, reducers. And this is our reducer. This is pretty, I'm pretty sure you don't understand what this is right now, but let me show you right now. This right here, this function, all this is our reducer, okay? So reducer actually is what manipulates the data, right? And action tells it how to manipulate the data, or what it is supposed to be manipulating data, right? So this reducer tells us that we're supposed to be manipulating data this way, the counter doing this, counter incrementing by one, decrementing, setting, and resetting, and the action is telling us which one of these are we supposed to be using. That is it, okay? But this whole thing, this whole function right here is our reducer, and we're going to be talking about how we're going to be using multiple reducers. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be using stores for, or reducers. So for instance, this one case, obviously we do need just one reducer because we're just working on a simple counter application, which is this. So that only requires a one reducer. But let's say for our application, our budget snob, we're gonna have all the expenses that you've done, right? But we also want to filter, correct? So expenses is already one reducer because we're gonna have a case for adding, editing, all those things, right? And filter is the other reducer because that's the filter is going to be responsible for actually filtering for the things that you want, for like keywords, the date range, the money, how much the money range, all that stuff, you know. So you could see the key differences on like why we need reducers or multiple reducers in some applications. But that's going to be the next video, guys. Don't worry about it. We are going to be talking about this more in depth in the next video. So stay tuned, stick around, and I hope you enjoy what I've just showed you today. And yeah, and if you haven't, please consider subscribing. Leave a like if you learned something today, and leave a comment down below on what you thought. I thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. I say "and" at the very end of the videos. I say "and" so many times. I need to stop. But I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.